You are listening to The Michael Lodge Show. Wealth, business, and taxes. Oh yeah, and some politics. Let's get started.
And here we are, another podcast day, a beautiful day here in South Florida. It's nice. It really, you know what, it's really good to be alive on a day like today. I mean, I walked outside, I looked out up at the sky, and it was blue, just a few floating clouds. No rain scheduled for the day that we know of. That could change any moment because Florida, you never know. But I'm glad that this week is almost done. This is Thursday, the day that I'm recording it. And we're almost done with the week. Can you believe that time zooms by so fast? Listen, I wanted to have a little chat with you today. And I wanted to talk about the economy and what's going on with it and how it's affecting you and me. I know it's affecting me a lot because as I go to the store, as I go put gas in my car, my costs have almost tripled since January. In fact, if you look at inflation for the first quarter of 2021 has jumped 3.8%. So that's quite a considerable amount when it comes to the cost of us living. Inflation is growing every single day. In fact, Warren Buffett just came out with a statement earlier this week that said he and Hathaway are looking at the economy and looking at inflation, and he said there has been a significant increase in inflation over the first quarter. And we all have felt it, right? When you go to the grocery store, don't you find that your groceries have gone up? When you go and buy goods or if you go and buy gasoline, everything has gone up. That's called inflation. And it's based upon various indicators. It's on the GDP. It's indicated if you look at the economy, looking at our trade deficit that has considerably gotten worse in the first quarter. And then if you look at you and I, who have to live every single day on what we make, and it's becoming tougher. That's why I've told you so many times, as your dad on the radio, on the podcast, conserve your finances, conserve your cash, save your cash. If you got refunds, if you got stimulus money, put it into the bank because I'm telling you, you're going to need it. Inflation is a tough situation that we have to live with when we have bad policies that are coming out of government. I mean, even the Treasury Secretary, I mean, her remarks this week are saying that now she thinks that perhaps we need to start raising interest rates. We haven't gotten out of this pandemic situation, and we still have companies out there who have loans, and we have companies who are almost under because of government overreaction and shutting everything down. Has now created an inflationary situation for the rest of the United States. I got into an argument this morning on Facebook on these individuals who was saying how great this president has been. And what he has truly done is created a situation where we've got businesses unsure of what to do next because they don't know what they're going to get attacked with from the administration on higher taxes, on labor costs and everything else. So they don't know because, see, we know in business, we know when a president starts talking or a politician begins talking about a $15 wage, minimum wage, that $15 is not $15. As soon as you start adding on workers' compensation, because remember, workers' compensation rates are based upon every $100. So if they're making more $100, that means workers' comp expenses are going up. Taxes are going to go up. Now, do not ever believe the president when he says anybody below $400,000 is not going to get a tax increase, because that is an absolute lie. Because in his bills, in his stimulus bills, and in his infrastructure bill, he is taking out all of those tax cuts that we had received under the Trump administration. Now, remember that reduction in taxes affected everybody in their payroll. Now, see, Biden is not telling you that, but there is a tax increase coming your way. I guarantee it. So don't ever believe politicians when they say, "Oh, it will not tax the individual." I want you to look back, think very carefully on this. Remember Biden and Obama when they introduced the Obamacare plan, said there wasn't going to be any taxes. Well, there was a tax. They tried to hide it as a fee, but it was not a fee. As soon as it got to the IRS said, "No, that's a tax." And then it went all the way to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said, "Yes, that's a tax." So with every hidden word that a politician spouts that is not going to increase your taxes, it's going to increase your taxes. I've seen it happen so many times. Even when they write a bill and it goes over to review by the IRS to enact that tax, that tax bill that came through, when it gets interpreted by the tax attorneys and everybody over there at the IRS, it becomes a tax. And it affects everybody. Not just the millionaires, it affects everybody. So forget about all this $400,000 stuff, this $1 million stuff that people are earning and they're going to get taxed at. No, forget that. Politicians lie every single time because they don't want you to know that you're going to get a higher tax. It's coming. I'm guaranteeing to you it's coming. The president lies and the Congress lies. Just believe me on this, because I've seen it happen too many different times. Things get snuck in on some of these bills that have nothing to do with taxation, and it affects you and me. So we have this inflation going up. We know that taxes on corporations are going to go up. What do you think those corporations are going to do? Yeah, they're going to look for a country that's tax friendly. Remember, we had all these companies coming back, and then all of a sudden we have a new president, and the president is saying, I'm so happy you're back. Now I get to tax you. How dumb are we? How dumb are we? So listen, inflation is going up. First quarter went up by 3.8%. So we're seeing an increase every single quarter now. And we are going to see that for the next year or even 2 years. With policies of that are coming out of the White House and endorsed by the Democratic Congress, you can expect that inflation is going to triple, and it's going to last for more than 2 years. And if we want to see a change in effect, we have got to see a better representation of votes in Congress. Right now, it's really lopsided. Congress and the Senate are controlled, and the White House is controlled by Democrats, which means it's going through everything that comes out of the Congress and in the White House. It's not going to be for the American people. High taxes is not for the American people. We know that you want to pay for an infrastructure, but don't take it from us. Take it from where you're already getting it. You've got a gasoline tax that is sitting there providing you with billions. What's happening to those billions and trillions of dollars that's coming in from it? No one wants to explain that to us. So we have inflation and we have got to prepare for it. So I'm encouraging every single one of you. You remember when we talk about those rainy day funds? Yeah, well, you need some stormy day funds because it's going to come. Now, remember this, okay? We may see inflation going up, but in a lot of us, we also see opportunities. Because with inflation, there becomes problems. And for problem solvers, you have a whole bunch of new business that will be there. So if you are a firm that solves individuals' financial problems, you have a good business coming up. Because individuals are going to want to know, how do I get around this inflation? How do I make my life more stable? My financial life more stable. So for those of you out there, as we look at this, there's also a bad situation for Americans where everything is going up, but there's also a good situation where there's opportunity for companies to help people. So think about that also. You know that inflation is going up. How can you develop a new product? How can you develop a new store that is less in cost? What can you do to create a business of opportunity that helps other people? It's a great life. But for right now, you and I got hit with 3.8% increase in everything, in our gasoline, and everything. Now, listen, some of you are going to come back and say, yeah, well, what you should be doing is driving an electric car. Well, let me tell you, that's an expensive item too. That car does not pay for itself for several years. And the other issue is that the electricity that is charging that car is coming from plants, cogeneration power plants and other types of power plants that are not that, and is not that environmental friendly, but they do the job. They create electricity. The other issue is that the more strain that you put on our electrical grid, the more issues we have, because I'm telling you, no one's focusing on the electrical grids, on the power supply that supplies power to all of us, our cars, our toasters, our internet. So, be cautious of this inflationary time and plan well. Do you? Good financial planning, because you're going to need it. You are going to need it. Now, I wanted to also talk to you about those of you who are so happy that Biden is saying, okay, I'm going to forgive all of your debt. Listen, he can't do that without an act of Congress. He cannot just wipe your debt free. He doesn't have that power. Remember, those are federal funds being provided for by the federal government for you to take loans out. The President of the United States cannot do that. Now, I want you to go back in time, because several years ago they said, listen, if you get a job in a certain industry, in a certain location in the United States, we will forgive your debt. Remember, politicians were saying that we're going to do that. Never happened. It never happened. So do not believe that the government is going to come and save you from your debt. You should be paying down that debt right now. In fact, right now is such a great time for you to be paying down that debt, because there's no interest. No one's charging you interest at the moment. Pay down your principal. Get it done with. This is the best time that you should be paying down your debt, because it's going to take years for any act of Congress to come in and forgive student loan debt. They might come in and say, okay, $10,000. But a lot of you have $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 worth of debt sitting there in college funds. Don't think that listen, I have read a study where people who have college debt have the money at the moment sitting in their bank accounts to pay off that debt. That they're not doing that because they're hoping that Biden's going to come along and give you free tuition. It's not going to happen. Listen, you guys, you have an ethical responsibility here. You literally made the decision. You made the decision to take on that debt. You signed on the dotted line knowing that it was debt, knowing that you were going to have to pay it off. The ethical part of you should be paying down that student loan debt. Don't wait for Biden to come along and be a fairy godmother, because he's not going to be able to do it without an act of Congress. He doesn't have the power to remove your debt. He does not have that power. And let me tell you, I believe that there are people sitting in that Congress who are Democrats and Republicans that know that if they were to forgive that billions of dollars of debt, that the economy would suffer from that forgiveness. So, if you have college debt that you took the responsibility for when you signed that loan package, ethically, that is your debt. And ethically, you should be paying it off. So have some ethics and some balls and sit down and start writing some checks and paying off that debt. Because if you're going to wait around for Biden or the government to do anything for you, you're going to be waiting for a long time, because it will take an act of Congress to change that. Now, we have a year before the 2022 elections for congressional seats and Senate seats. My prediction is that both the Senate and the Congress will be taken back by the Republicans. The Republicans are not going to vote for any forgiveness of debt. They just won't do it. Because they feel that you ethically signed on that piece of paper that it is a loan that you took on responsibility for, that you made the decision to go to school with debt. So once that is done, a lot of this stuff will be slowed down, because the president will not be able to do his nonsense that he's trying to do at the moment. One individual this morning sent me a message saying that Biden was the best president because he has so many good ideas for the nation. What good idea does he have for the nation that's going to help you? I'm going to ask you that. You who are 60 years old, sitting in your living room, what plan does he have to help you? He has no plan, because everything that is driving his agenda at the moment is pure politics, and that's where we have a problem. When we have politicians who are so political agenda driven, nothing gets done for the people that helps the individuals. I mean, I love to see people get things done. And I love to see presidents who really want to do something for the American people, and they really work hard at it. And we've had lots of presidents who have done that. But once you become so political driven and your only focus is politics and appeasing other people in your political party, and not thinking for the Americans as a whole, but your whole focus is pinpointed for politics only, then we are very dangerous in creating bad situations for our country. See, politically driven individuals are so motivated by politics and money. That word money is in there when it comes to politically driven agendas, because that's the only way they can get things done, by paying other people off. So we have to be very, very careful about where we're sitting at the moment. Now listen, I have followed Joe Biden for a long time, and I've always liked his remarks. He's entertained me considerably. And I've known him ever since I was a little kid. It's a long time ago. Joe Biden and I are old. And I've watched him. I've watched him during the Nixon impeachment. I've watched him through various commentary that he gives on the Senate floor, which he's reversed his position now on, which is sad. But we have an issue where when we have a Congress or you have politicians that are so party politically driven, then we don't get anything done for our country. So, getting back to college tuition and university tuition loans that you have taken out, pay them back. Ethically, that's the right thing to do. Because this Biden thing and promising of taking out your loans and forgiving them, can't do it unless it's done by an act of Congress. So stop believing politicians. Stop. That's like, let's take the Dreamers. How many political seasons have you and I gone through where politicians have come through and said, we are going to do something for the Dreamers? Nothing ever gets done. But you see, Dreamers was always a good political talking point. Just like freedom of debt on your school loans is a good political talking point. Racism is always a political talking point. But does anything ever get done? No, nothing ever gets done. But it comes up every 4 years. It comes up every 2 years when people are running for Congress. It comes up every 4 years when people are running for the presidency. But does anything ever get done? No, nothing's gotten done with the Dreamers. Nothing's gotten done on your college tuition. And it's been talked about for years and years. So don't believe the politicians as you're sitting there in your room thinking, oh, Biden is so good because he's going to forgive my school debt. No, it's not going to happen. He'll try with an executive order, but that executive order will be shot down in court because he doesn't have the power to do it. Congress never gave him the power to forgive educational debt. They never did. Those money, that is the money that comes from the federal government to fund the loans for debt comes from the federal government. It's approved by Congress. It's not approved by the President of the United States. Except he does sign the bill. But that doesn't mean that he gets to change the bill. Only Congress gets to change bills and laws. The President never gets to change any laws. So that is my thing that we need to really focus on. If you owe college debt, start paying it down. Because it's the ethical thing to do. Don't wait around for government to come along and say, oh, we forgive you. No, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. An act of Congress takes a lot of hard work, and that could be years from now. Because they've been talking about it ever since I was in college. Oh, let's forgive debt. Let's forgive this debt. People's debt is going up. And it keeps going up every single year. Every single year it goes up. More and more people go to college. More and more people take out loans. More and more people go on for second degrees and third degrees. And they keep taking out loans. And now they're hoping that somebody will come along and forgive it all. People, you made that decision to take on that debt. That is your decision. You're responsible for it. Oh my goodness, we could go on and on, huh? Literally, if you were to take every single aspect of this economy, we could literally spend days and days and days on taxation, on the GDP, on the economy as a whole, as businesses, as everything. We could go days and days and years and years and years on this topic because it changes consistently. What happens in today's economy, in today's business environment, the transactions that's being handled on Wall Street today may change. The philosophy and the thought process on the economy may change based upon the policies that are coming out of Washington, D.C., and that's the issue. If we do not have good policymakers who are thinking about how it's going to affect the American people, And not how it's going to affect the political agenda, but how it's going to truly affect you and I. If we don't have those good policy decisions being made, then it affects all of us. And it's affecting us now with inflation going up. All gasoline prices are going up. My goodness. So used to only cost me about $30 to fill up my car. Now I'm up to $50. Do you think I like that? No. And I don't think you like it either. And I don't think any American likes to see that our money is going out of our pockets faster than we can breathe. That is the problem. Listen, that's going to end it for today. If you like my content, hey, go on to www.buymeacoffee.com/Michael Lodge and help me out with a donation, or give me your feedback or whatever you want to do. I will listen to it. If you want to send me I got rid of my texting system because I didn't feel that people were using it well enough. But listen, you can go on to email and send it to info at lodge, LODGE-co.com. And I will answer. I answer every single email that comes through. So today is one more day until Friday. And we're going to make it through. And we're going to make it through until the weekend. And then we're going to sit there. We're going to bring out the lawn chairs. And we're going to get a nice, cold drink. And we're going to sit there and we're going to say, you know what? Life is good. Inflation might be going up. But I'm going to look at this positively because I'm going to control my own finances, my own decision-making process, and I am going to be cool. So take that sip of cold drink. Sit there in your lounge chair. Have a good book to read. And know that you're in control. Not the government, but you. This is Mike Lodge. I'll talk with you soon. Everybody go out and have a great day. Bye-bye. This podcast has been produced by Michael Lodge, fully focused on content.